So it wasn't a great regular season, but we're on to the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
Yeah, new season. This is where it really counts.
Question time.
And I got a massive, massive card. Roll the intro. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another edition of Uncle Dan's Best Bets here on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel located inside the beautiful Connors and Ferris podcast studio. We appreciate their support as always, as well as your support here on the Uncle Dan community here. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate the support as always, just like we appreciate the support of Bob Johnson Auto Group. See their logo right there. Proud sponsor for quite some time of Uncle Dan's Best Bets. Buying, selling, trading, leasing, whatever you need, go to Bob Johnson Auto Group, especially with this winter. Whatever you need, go to Bob Johnson Auto Group. Tell them that Uncle Dan sent you. Okay, so as we wrap up the regular season this year, wasn't great for Uncle Dan. I hope you had a great season. That being said, I think I can confidently say I am the Mike Tomlin whisper, as Ian pointed out in the comments. But yeah, I just want to give, we'll get back to that in a second, but appreciate the support as always. Some of the comments, Ian watching, Jeff watching from Ottawa, Richard Rush, William, I know he's always in the comments too. So appreciate it again. As we head into Wildcard weekend, comment in with your favorite plays for the weekend. I got a big card. We will get to that in a second. Also, shout out to my dad. He's retired. He just kind of retired. So shout out to him. He's been watching Uncle Dan's Best Bets recently. So I just wanted to give him a shout out here on the channel as well. But yeah, I told you, like, I am the Mike Tomlin whisperer. That is my thing. If I just bet Steelers games and on my gut of Mike Tomlin, I would be a very profitable man. So we finished last week 3-3. I didn't say that the Steelers would dominate the game, just said they would win. And they were going to cover anyway, whether the field goal went in or not. Just saying. So yeah, I do have a Steelers play. So if you want to wait for that, maybe you know where that one is going. Last week, 3-3, didn't add any extra plays. It was really weird trying to figure out who's playing, who wasn't playing. So I kind of stayed clear. So a 500 week, that brings our season to 79-86. So we are 7 games under 500. And I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 play card. I had a 13 play card. I added an extra one because I didn't want it to be unlucky. I'm not superstitious, but maybe a little stitious. Okay. So trying to go with some trends, trying to go with a little bit of a gut feel. I have a 6-pack of plays that aren't Bills, and then 8 plays that are Bills plays. So yeah, we're not going to get over 500 if we don't fire some games here. And as we've always said, we will continue to do Uncle Dan's Best Bets as long as the Bills season is going. Fair enough? Okay. And if you watch the live podcast or we put it back on the channel from Thursday, or if you watched it again on Friday, if Gabe Davis scores two touchdowns, I have to jump in the pool at Everbank Stadium. So maybe that's just something you can bet just for the fun of it. Like my friend Alex Bush messaged me and said he's never rooted so hard for Gabe Davis to have 2 touchdowns. Really good podcast. Answer some of your questions. Be sure to comment in there. But again, I got a lot of plays. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. I'll take the Rams minus 10.5. Everybody thinks it's too many points. I don't think the Panthers are a very good team. And whereas the Rams slipped up, in week 14, I don't think they slip up here. They get Devontae Adams back. You have the massive quarterback advantage. You've probably seen the stat in the playoffs, a quarterback with no experience versus a quarterback with Super Bowl or just playoff experience in general. It's a massive advantage to that. I think this is a coaching advantage for the Rams. Yeah, 10.5 points seems like a lot, but I think we could be sitting here Saturday night going, yeah, that was a 30-10 win because that's what these two teams are. I just think that this is a massive disadvantage to the Panthers. Yeah, they get the home game. The Rams have been pretty good going east anyway. I'm not too concerned about this. I'm just not thinking too much. I know a lot of people like the Panthers, which makes me want to like the Rams. So we're going to zig when everybody zags. Everybody's saying it's too many points. I always think about this, guys. If Vegas is giving you that many points, they're saying, here, we'll give you the Panthers in 10.5 points, and we're fine with it. That's okay. So that's how I see this game. I just think Stafford, McVay are such a big coaching advantage. I will take the Rams minus 10.5. To the Bears and Packers game Saturday night. I think this should be a physical ground and pound game. So I like DeAndre Swift over 59.5 rushing yards. He's the more reliable veteran back in this spot over Kyle Monangai. So what I like what Ben Johnson has done has been kind of protecting Caleb and putting Caleb in favorable spots. I don't think we see Caleb come out here and throw the ball 50 times. And the Packers are 23rd in DVOA against the run. Now the Bears are 24th. Like, I think this game can be played on the ground. Weather is going to be a factor. Snowy, windy, all of those things. I think Ben Johnson trusts the guys up front. The Bears' offensive line has been really good this year. Top 5 offensive line, arguably top 3. I think they get back to running the ball. And if they're going to run the ball, I think they go with the experience in DeAndre Swift over Kyle Monangai. So on DraftKings right now, as I record this on Friday afternoon, DeAndre Swift over 59.5 rushing yards. I also like the over in the game in general. It's at 44.5. This is a spot where I think both fan bases are nervous about their defense. So if that's the case, I'm going to take the points. Bears defense is not very good unless they're forcing turnovers. And like I just said, I think what the Bears do well, I expect this to be a close game, but I just like the fact of, I think there can be, I just think this can be a 25-24 game. Something like that. And I don't think 44.5, whether usually, I know we always think about it like, oh, the footing and all of these things. It's kind of not great footing for the defense. At least the wide receivers and running backs know where they're going. It's the defense that has to cut more. So I think if there's snow and field conditions, it favors the offense. So those are my 3 plays for Saturday. We'll skip the Bills game. We'll get to that at the end. I like the Eagles minus 5.5 at home versus the 49ers. There have been, according to the Action Network, 40,000 bets on this game they've tracked. 78% of them are on the Niners. We're going Eagles. We're going to go against all of that stuff. The 49ers, I think, got exposed in that San Fran game. I think and like I said, if Trent Williams plays, that's great. I like that Eagles rushing defense so much. And I like that defense in general so much. I like the home field advantage, all of those things. This line opened at 3.5, went all the way up to 5.5. I will take the Eagles laying the points at home. This just feels like the Niners, well, they went on that run and it was nice at the end of the season. Like, just the injuries start to catch up to them. And I just like this battle of the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. I like the Eagles. I also like the Chargers plus 3.5 at the Patriots. This is another one of those spots where a rookie quarterback with no playoff experience, or a young quarterback with no playoff experience against Justin Herbert. I think that this is the step up for the Patriots. And I think the Patriots honestly have a ton of pressure. So maybe there's also some rooting interest here, for my job and for what the Bills' outlook could be. I just think this is a step up for the Patriots, and they have a ton of pressure. Chargers do as well, but being at home, and if you win this division and you think you have an MVP caliber quarterback and you lay an egg against a Chargers defense that is playing pretty well, I think that's some pressure. And you're looking at the Patriots fans looking at that season, looking at their season a whole lot different. So I'll take the Chargers plus the points. The hook really gets me here. So I'll take the Chargers plus 3.5 at the Patriots. And obviously, I think I've been saying this for a few weeks now. I said they'd lose to the Browns. I said they would beat the Ravens because that would be Tomlin getting fired, losing in Cleveland. Then I said he'd get an extension after he beat Baltimore. Harbaugh gets fired. Now they'll lose by 30. So I'm going to take the Texans -3 at Pittsburgh. I just don't know how the Steelers are going to move the ball effectively against this defense. That's how high I am on this this Texans defense. I just, the Ravens defense isn't good, and the Steelers made it look difficult at times in that first half and even in the second half. So I think a little bit of the magic runs out for Rodgers. And this is just I know it's Tomlin as a dog, but they haven't won a playoff game in a long time, 10 plus years. So Texans, because it just feels like this is the roller coaster ride that is Mike Tomlin. We faded him against the Browns. We backed him against the Ravens. We will fade them here against the Texans. So those are the 6 games, 6 plays I have in the games that aren't the Bills. Now to the Bills. I like the Bills -1.5 at Jacksonville. But the Jags are playing so well. They've got this 8-game winning streak, all of these kind of things. Let me bring a stat up for you that I've talked about earlier this year. From week 10, the Patriots were an underdog. They went to Tampa Bay and they had won 6 games in a row. And everybody's like, well, you're getting a team that's red hot on a winning streak. That's an underdog. That's free money. Vegas doesn't give out free money. So on the Action Network from week 10, the Patriots had won 6 straight games outright and were now underdog against the Bucs. Since 2004, in week 10 or later, teams on a 6+ game winning streak who are listed as underdogs are 28, 42, and 1 against the spread. That's 40%. I know there are a lot of people saying, like, you're going to get the hottest team in football in Jacksonville and you're going to give them points at home. Vegas doesn't care about those things. They don't care about emotions. They care about what they see, and also they care about a little bit of playoff experience. So you're getting Sean McDermott. Say what you want about him. He's coached in a lot of big games. So yeah, I know the Bills haven't won a road playoff game since 1993 and all of these things. The fact that the Bills are favored gives me confidence in that spot. And the trends and the numbers back it up. Teams that are red hot, that are listed as underdogs, everybody sees as, oh my gosh, they're the better team. They're the hotter team, and I get points. That's a no-brainer. Vegas doesn't give away free points and free money. So I will take the Bills -1.5. I also like the under. Call me crazy. I think this Bills defense has figured some things out. And the interesting matchup will be this Jaguars really good passing attack against the Bills' #1 passing defense. I think that's a little skewed. Like, I think that, and I've talked about it before, but it's a funny line, so I like saying it. Booger McFarland from ESPN says that stats are like bikinis. They show you some things, but not all things. Context needs to be put into some of these stats. The Bills, I don't believe, have the best pass defense, but the stats would tell you that. Well, you need to look in a little more context. A lot of teams run the ball against them. But then there have been times where the Bills, I think, have shown, whether it's Cole Bishop and his development or Christian Benford, the way that he's been playing of late, like, I have some weird faith in this defense. I'm not saying they're elite, but I think they're good enough. I think the Jags defense is also good enough. I just don't think this game turns into a high-powered shootout. I don't think that's the game the Bills want to play. And I don't think that's a game the Bills would allow. And like I said, they may give up 21 points in the first half, but we've seen their second half adjustments. This goes to the experience in the postseason of McDermott and Bobby Babbage together and some of the struggles that Trevor Lawrence has had. So I like the under. I see this as a 24-22 game, 24-21. I think this game's played in the 40s. I don't like the over. I don't think that's the way this game's played. I like James Cook, though. I like James Cook over 79.5 rushing yards. I think the Bills run the ball down the Jags' throats. I really do. And I know I've talked about it, so if you're hearing this again, or if you're new to just following Uncle Dan and not as much the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, yes, the Jags have had, historically, they have not allowed a running back to run for 75 yards this season. They're the first team, I believe, in NFL history to do that. But there's some context that needs to be provided to that. Over their last 8-game winning streak was the sample size I'm looking, because it's tough to judge things off September and October. over the last 8-game winning streak, the Chargers have faced one team with a top 10 rushing attack, and that was the Jets, and they have their 10th in rushing yards per game. So they haven't faced a Bears rushing attack. They haven't faced an Eagles rushing attack. And for everybody that says that Jonathan Taylor, well, they faced the Colts twice. Well, they faced them with backup quarterbacks. They faced 6 backup quarterbacks during their 8-game winning streak. So they're able to kind of hone in against the run. And Jonathan Taylor, and everybody says the Colts and how great he was, he hadn't rushed for 100 yards since Thanksgiving. So when the Chargers or when the Jaguars faced them, they weren't this vaunted rushing attack. And the other piece of this puzzle is that the Jags were ahead so often over this last 8-game winning streak, got out to big leads. So teams abandoned the run against them. So that also changes what stats look like. So obviously teams are going to be passing more against them. So I think all of that factors into, I think they have a really good defensive line. The best offensive line in football is Buffalo. And the games that they have won, they have taken it personally, and they have been they have bullied teams. And this goes back to when the Bills played Carolina, and the Carolina had the best rushing defense. They ran the ball down their throat. If the Bills want to win this game, it's not going to be airing it out with Josh Allen. It's going to be on the ground with James Cook. So over 79.5 rushing yards, I think he goes for 100. And that's going to be the factor for the Bills to win. This one I'm not so sure about, but it's playoff Josh Allen over 38.5 rushing yards. I don't know where his foot is. I hope the week off helped him. All of these kind of things. But it's playoff Josh Allen, and I think he puts his body on the line and takes off when need be. That is what can unlock this offense, is Josh Allen's legs. The caveat is how healthy is his foot. He says he's fine. If that's the case, I'm taking Josh for his word, and I think Josh uses his legs when need be and goods for 40 rushing yards. My favorite play of the week, a guy I was against, not so high on, starting to buy in. Give me Brandon Cooks over 22.5 receiving yards. I think that may only take one catch. I was looking at it glass half empty for a while when Brandon Cooks dropped the pass against New England and then dropped the pass against Cleveland. But if you look at it the other way, at least he was getting open, and he was getting open down the field. And then he made 2 big catches in the Eagles game, and remembering to catch the ball was really important for him as a wide receiver. Him and Josh worked extra after pregame warmups before the regular season finale against the Jets, trying to build that repertoire. And again, a veteran guy that has played in big spots, has postseason experience. I like Brandon Cooks over 22.5 receiving yards. I also like Dalton Kincaid over 38.5 receiving yards. I have expressed my limitations on what I think this Bills offense can be. And that is my bigger concern in this postseason. If you ask me, hey, Dan, what are you more concerned about, the Bills defense or offense? I'll tell you it's offense. Because I still think I think the Bills could lose the game 20-17. I think they could win the game 27-21. But I think that is going to be, if Josh is going to have success, and he talked about the self-scouting he did and where he missed opportunities, and maybe he was pressing a little bit, he's going to go to guys that he trusts. So I also like Dalton Kincaid over 38.5 receiving yards. He has been a piece, no question, this year that has helped unlock this offense. Sean McDermott talks about it this week, the difference that this offense is, numbers and record-wise, when he's on the field, when he's not. I also like Dawson Knox over 19.5 receiving yards. I think somebody told me the stat that he's caught a touchdown in every wildcard game that he's played. So maybe you want to sprinkle that in. But I just think that they are going to go. The Jags really got beat bad by the Rams, who went with a lot of 13 personnel. That's 3 tight ends. Now, I know that was probably before Thanksgiving, but I think the Bills will try and echo that. It's not going to be deep shots down the field a ton to, Kincaid and all these guys, but I think they will be heavy personnel. They're going to do what they've done. They're not, I just don't see this Bills team opening up the playbook that they've been holding back all year. So I like Kincaid and Knox is over. And I also like Khalil Shakir over 4.5 receptions. He's done that in 4 out of the last Bills postseason games. I'm leaning on guys that Josh trusts. And that's where I'm going with my money this week. So while I have my concerns about what this Bills offense can be, I am going to put my money where my mouth is and say that, hey, if Josh Allen turns into the Josh Allen we know in the postseason and how dominant he can be and the force of nature that he can be, he's going to lean on guys like he knows, like Kincaid, Knox, and Shakir. And I think Brandon Cooks could be the wild card. So there it is. There's the 14 pack. Rams minus 10. DeAndre Swift over 59.5 rushing yards. Bears Packers over 44.5. Eagles minus 5.5. Chargers plus 3.5. Texans minus 3.5. I like the Bills minus 1.5. The Bills Jags under 51.5. James Cook over 79.5 rushing yards. Josh Allen rushing yards over 38.5. I'm a little shaky on that one. Brandon Cooks over 22.5 receiving yards. Dalton Kincaid over 38.5 receiving yards. Dawson Knox over 19.5 receiving yards. Khalil Shakir over 4.5 receptions. All of those could happen and Josh could throw for 180 yards. But I think the Bills, I'm going with the experience versus a first-time defensive coordinator, a first-time head coach, and a first-time offensive coordinator. In a spot where I think everybody talks about the pressure that is on the Bills, and I guess I understand that, but the Jags, they're a better team than the Bills. But they don't have Josh Allen, they don't have Sean McDermott and the experience, and that's what I'm going with. Nut crunching time, as Michael Jordan would say. Appreciate the support. As always, comment in below with your picks for Wildcard or Super Wildcard weekend, whatever we're calling it. Appreciate it as always. We are heading off to Jacksonville tomorrow as I record this on Friday afternoon. It'll be up as soon as possible. Appreciate the support as always from the Connors and Ferris podcast studio. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will catch you here next time on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. And best of luck to your bets this weekend from Uncle Dan. Let's beat the odds together as I break down the NFL betting lines, who will cover and who is poised for an upset.
Uncle Dan's Best Bets on Buffalo Plus. New each Saturday on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Sponsored by the Bob Johnson Auto Group.